Hey, it's Francis Lamb, host of The Splendid Table. Every week on our show, we talk about food and cooking and the meanings of food and cooking. We talk with the most interesting people in food about their techniques, their culture, and everything in between. Whether it's about how fried chicken took over the world or how Instagram changes the way people are actually eating. It's a food show where everyone is welcome. Come join us. You can listen to The Splendid Table wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
HRN is food radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org. Hi, this is Louisa Kasdan from Let's Talk About Food. New England recently lost one of the greats, Jasper White, chef, author, mentor, and trailblazer. He reinvented and reinvigorated New England cuisine and made it into a style of cooking that was a lot more than chowder and lobster rolls. At 69, it was too soon to lose him. So with great love and respect and quite a bit of sadness, we share a story he told us at a live Let's Talk About Food event a few years back. Jasper White is credited nationally with reviving and reinventing the regional traditions of New England cooking. An uber-successful chef with multiple restaurants, winner of every accolade in the food world, Jasper will share a deeply personal story of how a cranky customer became a treasured friend. Jasper's story is recorded in front of a live audience at WBUR City Space in November of 2019. Let's have a listen.
This is an outrage. How could you do this to me? How could you take my favorite dish off the menu? What am I going to do now? That was 1980, and I had moved to Boston the year before and was manager at the Harvard Bookstore Cafe on Newbury Street. Customer was a guy named Andy Mose, and the dish was a liver mousse that was flavored with caramelized onions, apples, butter, herbs, and cognac. Delicious dish. Andy really loved it. He was freaking out. I tried to calm him down. I didn't really know him at the time. I'd seen him in the cafe a few times. You know, when a dish doesn't sell, you can't present it at its best quality, and so it has to come off the menu. But I'm going to make it as a special once in a while, and if you give me your phone number, I'll call you up when we have it. Well, all week long, I thought about this guy. He's big belly, big beard, big, beautiful face with a smile that just reeked of mischievousness. And I thought about him, and I went in, made an order. Anyway, I made a 10-pound batch of the liver mousse. I packaged it. I called up Andy. I asked him where he lived. He happened to be a neighbor. Long story short, we became best friends. We had a lot in common. We loved food. We loved drinking. And it was a great friendship. And at the same time, over the next few years, our careers paralleled. Andy, he went from being the traffic reporter to the co-host of the Joe and Andy Show, one of the highest rating morning shows for more than a dozen years. Then I opened Jasper's. I started focusing more on New England. And that led to a feature article in the New York Times about Thanksgiving. And Andy called me up and he said, Jasper, he said, I saw the article. That was great. Why don't you come on the show and talk about it? And I said, yeah, okay. So I knew, being Andy, that it wasn't going to be really a serious food talk. The next morning on the show, his partner, Joe Martell, says, so Andy, where are you going to have Thanksgiving this year? And he said, well, I've got a bit of a dilemma. I'm supposed to go to my sister's in Connecticut with the whole family, but I just got an invitation from Jasper White to have dinner at his house. And Joe said, what are you going to do? He said, I don't know. Let me call my sister. And this is all on air. So he calls his sister Marla up, and he said, so Marla, how you doing? Oh, Andy, I'm so happy to hear from you. I hope you're going to be here for Thanksgiving. He said, well, I'm not sure yet. I might have to work. What are you having for dinner? She said, oh, it's going to be wonderful, Andy. I'm making these little skewers of Spam and pineapple. I'm making a 5-cup salad. It's a cup of marshmallows, a cup of coconut, cup of canned mandarin oranges, fruit cocktail, and imitation sour cream. And then instead of the regular turkey, I'm going to bake a turkey roll. It's almost all white meat, and it's so easy to slice. And he's like, oh, great, sis, I'll get back to you. And then he calls me up. Hi, Jasper. What are you doing for Thanksgiving this year? Like, what's on the menu? So I said, well, we're going to start with pemmican oysters from Maine. I'm going to broil some little neck clams and put garlic butter on it. A few other tasty appetizers. Then we're going to have a rich lobster bisque with tamale toast. Then we're going to have my version of Fannie Farmer's butter-basted turkey, and sausage, apple, and sage stuffing, cranberry ginger relish. Then I'm going to roast a piece of venison, Grand Vigneur, with chestnut puree, and Brussels sprouts with bacon, and sautéed chanterelles, and on and on and on. Next call to Marla. Marla, I just found out I had to work. I'm sorry, Andy, we're really going to miss you. So most of the people that knew the show knew that he was a joker, but not everybody who heard it did. So the people started calling in, and they were irate. What a despicable human being. You know nothing about the meaning of Thanksgiving and family. One person even called him the Ebenezer Scrooge of Thanksgiving. Well, the truth is that Andy did work that Thanksgiving. He worked almost every Thanksgiving and Christmas because he wanted his coworkers who had children to be able to enjoy it with their families. He had a big heart, and he was a great guy. And he did come to my house. I postponed the dinner till 4 o'clock so that he would come. And we shared many holidays together. And now I'm going to fast forward another 10 years. It's the year 2000. I had just opened Summer Shack 6 months earlier. And Andy said, come on the show, we'll do a little. He was a shameless promoter of his friends. In return, he would get free meals. But it was basically a 1-hour infomercial about Summer Shack. I had a lot of fun doing the show with him. He went home that day and took a nap, and he died of a heart attack. It was so sad. It was so upsetting, and especially for his wife, Diane, who's here tonight with us. And for me, it was, I lost one of my best buddies, and it was so weird being on his last show. So I think of him often, and especially at Thanksgiving. Thanks, and I hope you guys have a good dinner this year.
Thanks for listening. And thank you to our team, producer Rachel Gottbaum and sound engineer and composer Michael Moss of Soundscape Boston. You can find more of our stories by visiting our website, letstalkaboutfood.com, or find them on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, listeners. We want to tell you about a podcast we're really digging. It's called Christopher Kimball's Milk Street Radio. Every week, they travel the world to find the most fascinating stories about food, including children who harvest cod tongues after school in Norway and a detective who tracks down food thieves. And on Milk Street Radio, you can always find the unexpected. The comedian who ranks apples using an elaborate 100-point system, the secret history of grocery stores, and how to eat your way through Italy. They also interview the most beloved names in food like Jacques Pepin, Sola El-Waylly, Jose Andres, Jet Tila, Ina Garten, Nigella Lawson, and Padma Lakshmi. Plus, co-hosts Christopher Kimball and Sarah Moulton do live calls with listeners and answer their questions about ingredients, techniques, and culinary mysteries. Like, why roasting a leg of lamb made one color's oven explode? Ever wonder why your bread won't rise or your souffle falls flat? Chris and Sarah have the answers. You'll also hear from a rotating cast of contributors, including Kenji Lopez-Alt, Cheryl Day, Dan Pashman from The Sporkful, and Alex Ainuz, a French guy cooking from YouTube. Take a listen at 177milkstreet.com/radio or just search your podcast app for Milk Street Radio.